Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? So I wanted to go ahead and kind of talk Colosseum today. So, in regards to Colosseum, this is kind of the team that I like to use. In case you guys are wondering, I love using Berserker and I love using Lore Weaver in tandem, but by far Petite Devil and a mixture between Witch Doll are always kind of handy to have on hand. Now, I will say that if you guys want to know what is the by far best team in the game as far as pay-to-play heroes are concerned, I would say some of the better teams that I've seen are those that make use of this kind of mixture. And of course, you can use various levels of, like you can swap out different things, but this team comes out on top a lot. Now, having that said, let's see if I can get down to one. So, trick number one is that you need to kind of lay out what kind of team you're up against. So in this case, I've got a tank, a backhand, a backline, and a backline, and then another backline. So that's a really heavy backline team. Now, I can approach this two different ways. I can either try to kill the tank and then kill this guy off, and then the rest are easy peasy. Or I could then try... instead of trying to use like Black Crow, which again drops defense on a tank, which kills tanks absolutely faster than most. Now with this current setup, right, the one thing that's nice about Berserker is that it's going to knock the tank up, and Rose Knight's going to give us a shield at the start. If Lore Weaver pops her healed, then we also get a bit of a bonus to magic damage, which is going to increase Petite Devil's damage when she pops her ultimate. So ultimately, let's see what this does, and then we'll kind of, explore what we need to be doing differently if this doesn't work. So, right from the get-go, we can see that the stun dropped her Rose Knight, but that shouldn't be too big of a deal. Again, mono there, but it's getting really close. And, okay, there's Petite Devil's stun, but we lost her tank. Did we kill him? Yes, okay, we got the two that we were really hoping to kill off, so that's a fair trade-off. Now we just need to follow through. There goes Petite Devils again, and there we go. That pretty much seals their fate, like so. Now, that's kind of like how I decide when I try to knock out teams, and this is how I've been kind of staying in the top 10 in Colosseum for quite a while now. Now, like this team here, again, more or less the same thing, with the exception that now you have not one, but two backlines that are trying to kill off the units you have in the back. In this case, I have too many. So you got to get rid of Black Crow, and even this is a little fishy. Now, I've always had trouble when it comes to dealing with two backlines like that are trying to kill off your healer. So I've kind of gotten around to counteracting that with like someone like Shade, for example, because melees that are kind of in the center tend to have a little bit more luck. But again, going back to the fact that, I'm not going to be able to stun them out. So I need to be focusing primarily on heroes that are going to counteract the current situation. Now, because of the nature of how I don't have Black Crow, what I can do is I can swap it out for Scarlet Bolt. Scarlet Bolt's going to do a pretty similar effect here, and we'll kind of see what happens. But what you need to know is that Scarlet Bolt is much like Black Crow in the fact that she drops defense. So we're going to kind of see what's going to happen here. And again, this is a bit technical, all right, but let's just say that what I'm afraid of, right, is my healer's going to die. So I'm hoping Shade can keep her safe. Okay, she knocked out the first one. Now Shade ulties, and oh, it's just so close. It is so close. It wasn't enough to keep the healer alive, which is not good, but it does look like we have a mass majority, which is going to work out just fine, hopefully. Now, that's no guarantee, because obviously we still have Tracker and still a healer to deal with here, but hopefully things are not going to completely go to south. Okay, there we go. That's what I wanted to see. And, like, so, yeah, that's pretty much that for that team. That pretty much seals their fate. Now, off to the next team. Okay, now again, I'm already at the top 10. I've only got, looks like 3 hits left. So can we get to number 1? All right, so, okay, again, this is a different team in itself because we have not one, but 2 stuns, and then we have a backline and a backline. Now, I've always come to know that when it comes to approaching this problem, you can't really knock the tank out because stuns are just going to completely obliterate whatever you're trying to do. So what you're going to have to probably aim for, And I've done this a couple of times, but what you could do is you could either do Black Crow and Scarlet Bolt, which is going to completely erase the tank, but that runs the possibility of the healer staying alive, which is not what I want. So what I would do in this situation is I'm going to use Demon Slayer, because Demon Slayer, what he'll do is he's going to go after whoever has the most INT in this situation, which I would bet money it's probably the healer, but we'll see. Now, having that said, who should I pick to complement it? Now, again, this is where, you could pick like a Scarlet Bolt, right? But that's not really what we want. So we need to be very cautious with whom we choose to pick here, right? Because if we do it wrong, well, we could be stunned to death, quite literally. So we need to be very, very cautious. Now, I would say Black Crow or Shade might be a pretty good pick. I've never tried Shade in this situation. Granted, the current constellation kind of benefits him. So let's go ahead and see where this goes. Now, again, the main focus in this team is that we're trying to knock the healer out here. Because if we can knock the healer out, that's going to knock the whole stun team out almost right away. So as expected, okay, Demon Slayer did not go for who I thought he was going to go after. This is okay, but this isn't what I wanted. And so the whole team's going to fall flat because of that. So we can almost right away know that that was a complete failure. Okay, now what that tells me is that means Petite Devil is the most in that team in terms of magic. So one of the things that I always like to do is go back and let's look again. Okay, so this approach doesn't work. What could work is going to be oftentimes quite deceiving, but what I want to aim for now is probably a team that drops the actual magic damage. And of course, someone's scouting me, so what a joy. Let's see. Oddly enough, because of what we're dealing with here, right? One of the perks of having Rose Knight is that Rose Knight is actually pretty good against magic, and since her magic defense is actually not too bad, but for this particular situation, because we're trying to deal with stunners, I would say, yeah, as crazy as this may sound, I think we might be able to get away with using, like, it's kind of a question of, like, do I use Trickster, right? Now, this is a big question, because obviously Trickster, I mean, if we go ahead and do it, right, the one trouble with Trickster is that you never quite know if Trickster is really the right guy for the job, but we're going to see what happens, because the thing I love about Trickster is that his stun might, and I'm not sure if it will, but it might trigger quick enough that this might actually come in handy, but it's unclear because you can see how that didn't work so well, but oh, so close. Oh, so very close. Oh, please. Okay, so that killed the healer, which ultimately did what I wanted it to do, but now the question remains, is it actually going to do it? And yeah, I mean, that worked out in the end. Now, again, why is it that works? It pretty much boils down to the fact that I know Berserker will trigger first, and his stun, like his ultimate in terms of physical damage is pretty decent. And so that worked out pretty well. So now we're down to the last slot. Now, this team here, right, is probably known for being a real pain in some people's butt because they never get around the Grove Guardian in the back. Now, in my experience, I've been using kind of I really don't have a solid idea as to why this works the way it does, but I know that if you use two Petite Devils and then you try to counteract this team with this current team that I've got, it's not going to work, I don't think. The reason why I say this is because what this is going to do, right, is a tank's going to soak up the damage. That's going to be counterintuitive. I don't need to try to use that because that's not really going to fix my problem here. However, let's say if I use Trickster. You'd be surprised, right? Because I'm ultimately questioning, is this going to work? I don't really know. Okay, it's more of a question. And this is what I think everyone in Colosseum ought to be doing. Okay, question. Think of the most logical thing first and proceed further with more questions, because you really quite don't know what you're up against until you do it. But as you can tell, all right, there we got the tank. We pretty much traded tanks there. Okay, and it's not looking so great, but Mega Ultimate. And is it going to do it? I don't know. Is it going to do it? Maybe. Okay, there's the Petite. Oh man, are we gonna make it? I don't know. This is the question, right? Now, so here comes Grove Guardian, and this is where it gets intense, because if I lose that tank, this is not going to end so quickly, so well for me at all. Oh, we lost the tank. That is not good. Oh, boy. Is it going to be Petite, please? Save us. Save us. Do more damage, please. I beg of you. We may not be able to, because as soon as we lost that, we're, so close, but not close enough. All right. And yeah, and that ultimately seals their fate, so that's unfortunate. Close, but not quite. Now, needless to say, I got to rank 4, but that, like so, I hope kind of taught you guys a thing or two. Hopefully you learned a thing or two. And needless to say, thanks for watching.